If you want to know how my life is going, I recently got called out by a 5-year-old. I went to pick my nephew up from kindergarten for the very first time, and he could not remember my name. When the teachers asked him to describe me, he said, I quote, he doesn't have a job, but he makes me laugh sometimes. He didn't go with huge mustache, blue glasses. He led with unemployed. That is the number one thing he thinks of when he thinks of me. I mean, he's not that far off, to be honest. I live in a house of 5 comedians. I was my high school valedictorian. Now I'm 39 years old and I live in a house of 5 comedians. That's not a joke I've written, it's just a joke I live every single day. Everybody in my house is single. They don't even want to be in relationships. You know, they're always like, oh, I hate, you always got to check in with a lady, you always got to tell a lady where you're at. And I'm like, that sounds lovely. I would love to tell somebody where I'm at. I would love for somebody to know where I am. You think my adult roommates care where I'm at? I could disappear. The cops would show up to my house like, when did you notice Grant was missing? They would be like, oh, Grant's missing? Yeah, he disappeared a week ago. They'd be like, oh no, how are we gonna pay the rent? Great, makes me feel good. I mean, there are some perks to living with all of these dudes, though, I will say. Like, for instance, we have access to every single streaming platform on television, and not a single one is our password, all right? Not one. I'm not exaggerating. Our Hulu account is through a former roommate's ex-girlfriend's mother. Margaret. It's the most arrogant I feel at any point in my life when I log into Hulu and it's like, welcome back, Margaret. I have fooled you, robots. Margaret's a 70-year-old woman. And she very clearly never uses her Hulu account. Because there's a prominent feature on there that says, recently watched by Margaret. And I don't think she's watching any of this stuff. It's all stuff my dumb roommates are watching, you know? Rick and Morty, Bob's Burgers, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And then like once every 6 months, it'll pop up with something random like Grey's Anatomy. And I always get so happy when I see that, because I'm like, good for her. Margaret had a me night. You need those sometimes. I'll tell you, the worst thing for my dating life, the number one reason I'm single, I think, is board games. I am too into board games to date most people. I own a lot of board games. I do. Like, when you hear a lot of board games, what number pops into your head? Huh? What? 10. 10. 100. Boy, you were like, get out of here, 10. Why would, he said a lot. Why would you say 100? Boy, that seems like a lot, right?
We've got that many.
Yeah, you've got that many? Well, try 600, bro. Yeah, I have 600 board games. That's too many. That is too many to tell somebody on a first date. You know what I mean? A very normal first date question is like, what are you into? And then I'm gonna say board games. And then she's gonna think in her head, oh, that's cute. He plays Monopoly every once in a while. And then I will bring her back to my house, and she will go, I have made a terrible mistake. Right? And I get it. Like, 600 is too much of anything if you're not also into that thing. That's a lot. Like, if I was on a first date and I was like, what are you into? If she was like, oh, I love bobbleheads. I collect bobbleheads. I would think like, oh, that's quirky, that's fun. If I went back to her house and she had 600 bobbleheads, everywhere you look, bobblehead, I'd be like, oh, I'm for sure getting murdered tonight. I can see where this is going. She's gonna cut off my head and put it on a stick so it bobbles. I'm gonna be part of the collection. So, I get lonely being single, you know. I definitely got lonely during the pandemic. I feel like I really understood loneliness after that year. Until recently, I was pooping in a public restroom and someone turned off all the lights and I learned what true loneliness really is. You ever had that experience before? I have never heard so much desperation in my own voice before. No, somebody's in here. Please, I need those lights. Like I hit octaves I didn't even know I was capable of. Come back! I need you! Come back! I don't want to do this alone. Which I found very ironic because literally 30 seconds earlier I was being as quiet as I possibly could so that nobody would know I was pooping in a public restroom. Then the lights went out and I was like, I have played the part too well! My performance was too convincing! Oh no! My dad works at an old school college and everything is like outdated at his college. The bathrooms are one of them. They have these really like old-timey urinals you don't see that much anymore. They come out to a point from the wall. And a few years ago, I was visiting my dad at his college, and I walked into one of the bathrooms, and there was a 7-year-old boy taking a poop in one of those urinals. Just like sitting there, feet dangling, just sitting on a urinal. And I walk in, and I stop, because I'm surprised, right? You're not expecting to see that. I'm like, oh. And this kid looks me in the eyes, and he goes, these toilets are weird. And in my head, I was like, not as weird as this moment, you know? I don't know what you're supposed to do in that situation. You know what I mean? Like, there was a second urinal. Do you pee next to a kid taking a poop? That feels uncomfortable. I don't want to do that. You know, do you slowly back away and find another restroom? Like, do you one-up him and take a poop in the sink, you know? I have won this round. I didn't know what to do. He wasn't a bad kid, though. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't trying to be naughty or anything like that. He just went to the bathroom by himself, and he was confused, and I didn't want him to feel guilty, so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do the first thing, and I'm gonna pee and get out of here as quickly as I can, right? And I'm standing, like, with my back to him, just being like, this is the most interesting wall ever. But the problem was, he was a very friendly kid. So he started being like, what's your name? And I was like, nope. Nope, not acknowledging this. And then to fill the silence, he started telling me stuff about himself. He was like, my name's Hunter. I'm 7 years old and I live in St. Louis. So now it feels like a sting operation. I'm gonna get arrested. How'd you know all this stuff about Hunter? I didn't want to know all of it. I wasn't trying to know. He just kept telling me stuff. And my dad works in a small college. It's like 1,000 people. And so it's impossible not to see people again. You know what I mean? And so 2 days after this happened, I'm walking along the college campus and Hunter is walking there with his dad and he notices me and with no context at all, he goes, Dad, that's the man I use the bathroom with. Nope, keep walking, Hunter. Keep walking. My dad is old school, in every way, man. He's like 75, never had a sip of alcohol in his entire life. But he does like coming to bars with me, which sounds adorable, but it's not. Because every time he comes to a bar with me, he orders a glass of milk in the bar, and then he gets mad if they don't have milk. What kind of place is this? No, Dad. You're the weird one here. Look around, everybody's trying to fight their inhibitions, not osteoporosis. There is nothing you can order in a bar that makes you look more like a psychopath than milk. I honestly believe it. I mean, just think about it. Just think about seeing a 75-year-old guy sitting in the corner of a bar looking at you while drinking a glass of cold milk. Ugh. There is no way that guy's favorite meal isn't people. No, thank you. And my dad drinks milk every opportunity he can get. Like every breakfast, every lunch, every dinner, every location, he gets milk. I don't know why. I guess he's from that generation whose parents told him, like, if you don't drink milk, Hitler wins, or whatever. And so he's got to drink milk all the time. One time we were in a bar and he ordered a glass of milk and the bartender paused for an awkwardly long time. He was like, oh, yeah, sure. Why not? Weird answer. But he walked to the back of the bar, and we were just sitting there waiting, and I happened to look out the window, and I saw the bartender walk across the street, walk into an apartment complex, and then come back out 30 seconds later holding a glass of milk. He lived across the street. He poured his own milk, and then he sold that to my dad. That's not a bartender, that's a businessman, you know? I don't like how old school my dad is sometimes. He always has a cloth handkerchief on him at all times, which is the grossest thing ever. Why? There's nobody under 75 has a cloth handkerchief. There's no reason to. There are two reasons to have a cloth handkerchief. One, you are dressing up to go to a Great Gatsby party, or two, you're about to chloroform somebody, all right? I don't want to be part of either of those. We have so many ways to blow our nose now, Dad. Get rid of that handkerchief. We got Kleenex and paper towels and napkins and toilet paper and your sleeve, you know? You can do laundry in a machine. You don't have to go down to the river or whatever anymore. Like, it's so frustrating to me. I would rather my dad stand up in public and do a snot rocket onto the ground than pull out his pocket square of nasal nightmares. He's got to unfold it to find the parts he hasn't used already. Yes, you should be grossed out. This is gross. You should be grossed out. You want to know the worst part? If you sneeze in front of my dad, he will offer you his handkerchief. Get out of here, old man. Nobody wants your tuberculosis. Take your whooping cough elsewhere. It's gross. He's from that generation that doesn't know how to express their feelings, right? My dad can't say, I love you. Never says I love you. But he does get close, and he says lots of love to you. I love you, Dad. Well, you know, lots of love to you. That involves many of the same key words. Pretty much none of the same emotion, you know? That'd be like if you were talking to your lady and you were like, let's get married. And she was like, lots of marriages going around. That doesn't feel like a yes. You know, an old dude like that is having a feeling because they just start touching stuff out of nowhere. That's how, like, men keep their emotions at bay. We just start grabbing things, you know? I'll be like, I love you, Dad, and he'll be like, it's a good stool, huh? That's a good stool, yeah. What kind of wood is that, huh? Home Depot? Where'd you get that? That's a good load-bearing weight. That's how we keep our feelings away. I told you, I live with all these comedians. They're not really known for their emotional intelligence, comedians. Recently, I came out of my bedroom and one of my roommates was just standing in the hallway tapping a framed photo of a mountain that's on the wall. Just a photo hanging by itself in the hallway, and he's just standing there tapping it. And I walk out and I'm watching him. I'm like, what are you doing, you psychopath? And he goes, my dad said he's proud of me and I don't know what to do with that. I mean, men, we're not great at, you know, our emotions. We're not great at working on ourselves. But to be fair, we live in a country that's not that great at working on itself. Like, I think America, great country, but we're not a country that likes to acknowledge our faults. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I feel like America, the best analogy I have is America is like a 22-year-old party girl who's like wild and fun and charismatic, but is not into personal growth. You know, have you ever been walking down a sidewalk at like 2 a.m. when a nightclub lets out? America is like one of those drunk girls sitting on a curb being like, I can't find my friends. Where did all my friends go? And you walk up and you're like, do you need any help? And then she immediately is like, I don't need therapy. And you're like, wait, what? I didn't say that you did. And she's like, yeah, but you will. America, man. I love it, but we don't like anybody trying to get into America, you know? Until a few generations go by and we appropriate enough of their culture and then we're cool with them. That's our cycle, that's our move here. You know, we'll be like, no, get out of here, you're gonna ruin everything. Oh, I like eating that. Oh, that's pretty fun music. All right, you can hang out. Like, people forget, like, back in the 1920s, we tried to ban Italian people. We did not want Italian people in America. And now every time a Little League team wins a championship, all the kids are like, pizza party, pizza party. Yeah. In the 1880s, we tried to ban Chinese immigration, and now people are like, my tattoo means serenity. Yeah. In the 1850s, we tried to ban Irish immigration, and now people are like, how'd you get diabetes? Shamrock shakes, you know? That's our cycle. We don't want you here until we appropriate your culture. I think we're great at appropriating culture because we've been doing it for so long. Like, we've been doing it since before we were even a country. You know the song Yankee Doodle? Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a pony. This is a real thing you can look up. That song was written by the British and sung at us during the Revolutionary War to make fun of us. And we heard him singing that, and we were like, oh, snap, that's a catchy tune. Can we have that? And they were like, no. And we were like, we're gonna take it anyways. And then we just started singing it ourselves. That's insane to me. Stuck a feather in his cap and called it macaroni. They were calling us dumb. The British were calling us dumb, and we heard him sing Macaroni Hat, and we were like, bro, we could make those. What a fun arts and crafts project. Every third grader from henceforth, you know? On some level, it's kind of the most American thing I can think of. The British were trying to bully us, and we were too confident and ignorant to get bullied. That's America, confident and ignorant, you know? The British were like, you're a bunch of idiots. And then we were like, we're a bunch of idiots. Yes, so yes, we are all idiots. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I'm singing too loud. I get frustrated with a lot in America, man. The insurance industry, all of it is so frustrating. Health insurance, car insurance. I had a drunk driver hit my parked car and then flip his car into the middle of the street while I was asleep. That's a true story. And still, no matter what, the insurance company does this roundabout speak where they try to blame stuff on you. They want you to pay for stuff. They were like, where were you driving? And I was like, no. Not driving, car was parked. And they were like, you parked in the middle of the street while you were driving? And I was like, what? No. Side of the street, I was asleep. And they were like, oh, you fell asleep while you were driving? And I was like, I'm gonna come down to your office and fist fight all of you, all right? I got a copy of the police report because I was curious. This dude told the police that he'd had 12 beers. That's the number he came down to lie to the cops. Do you get how drunk that is? He was like, well, I can't say 20, right? 20 seems crazy. 20 seems crazy. What should I say, 12? I feel like I should say 12. They put them in 12 packs. They want you to drink 12. Why do they put 12 together? together if you're not supposed to drink all 12, huh? I feel like I'm gonna say 12. Should I go with 12? I think I'm gonna go with 12. How many did I drink? 12. Nailed it. The health insurance industry is even more frustrating, though, man. I tore my ACL, my meniscus, my MCL, and I had to get reconstructive knee surgery. It was awful. I mean, the only thing good about it, they prescribed me Oxycontin. Huh? I didn't even get to take it. I had to sell it to pay for the surgery. I know that our healthcare system is broken because I constantly see billboards for hospitals, which is infuriating to me. Because if there are billboards for hospitals, that means they see us less like patients and more like customers, right? I also don't understand who these billboards are for. Are these changing people's hearts and minds out there? Like, I want to meet the guy who's getting stabbed and being like, oh, I prefer to go to Mercy General. I just love that billboard campaign of a smiling doctor holding an Asian baby. No, don't go to the close hospital. Take the freeway north for 16 miles. Exit 35, changing medicine, changing lives. I'm a comedian like all the time, whether I want to be or not. Like, I just can't stop joking around, you know what I mean? And I'll tell you, when you joke around in a serious situation like major surgery, people do not have any idea how to handle you. People don't know what to make of you joking around. I had a nurse call me the day before my surgery, and she was like, hey, I just want to go through some of the protocols. You can't have any clear liquid after 9 p.m. And I was like, oh, I don't know what that means. I can't have any liquid except for clear liquid after 9 p.m. What's a clear liquid? And she was like, oh, it's like water, apple juice. And I stopped her and I was like, oh, you're telling me I can have an all-night apple juice party? And without a hint of a smile in her voice at all, she was like, yes, you would be allowed to have an all-night apple juice party. Like, she didn't get that I was joking one bit. I was like, oh, cool, I've been wanting to have an all-night apple juice party for a while. And she was like, well, this would be a good night to do your apple juice party then. And I was like, do you want to come to my apple juice party? And she was like, I'm not allowed to fraternize with patients. Wow, this lady's a robot, you know? The only person that had a sense of humor at all during the whole thing was my actual surgeon. I got this young, hip surgeon, and she was really cool. And I built up this fantasy in my mind because every time I met with her, like pre-op, I was wearing a mask because it was a hospital situation. And I was like, this is amazing. I have a surprise mustache. Do you know how much fun it is to have a surprise mustache, you know? You see me here, you're like, nice fella. Nope, major creep, you know? Major creep. And I was like, I built up this fantasy. I was like, this is gonna be amazing. They're gonna wheel me in to surgery, and she's gonna be like, time to operate. Oh no, I can't operate on this creep, you know? I didn't expect anything to actually happen. It was just like a, a fantasy that I made up in my mind that was making me laugh before surgery. Well, after my surgery, she video calls me the day after my surgery. The first thing she says is, how are you feeling today, Mr. Lyon? And I said, I'm doing okay, thank you. The very next thing she said was, boy, that mustache was a real shock. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm Grant Lyon.